Right now, they are two of the hottest teams in all of baseball. The Reds, of course, are in search of their second playoff appearance in the last 3 years. The Pirates haven't had a winning season or a playoff appearance in 20 years. Tonight, they meet in their most meaningful series going back to the 1990 League Championship Series. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds collide tonight at Great American Ballpark. A beautiful weather night, a sellout crowd on hand in downtown Cincinnati's Great American Ballpark. The opener, the top two teams in the National League Central in the first of three. The Pirates in to take on the Reds. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. And here we have two teams that are as hot as anybody in either league. The Pirates recently won 7 out of 10 and lost 3 games to the standings when the Reds ripped off 10 in a row. And you've talked about it a lot, Chris, lately. Both these teams, primarily, they do it with great pitching and defense and the long ball.
Well, you're exactly right about that, Tom. The Pirates had a big makeover in the offseason, but what is similar to them and the Reds is that they improved their pitching staff. You see winning percentage, Reds are first, Pirates are third. You go down to team earned run average, you're near the top of the league. Bullpen, and that's the most important thing for the Reds so far. They're first and second in the league. So this is a matchup in a ballpark that gives up a lot of runs, a lot of home runs by two pitching dominant teams.
Pirates have an MVP candidate in their lineup. 2 months in a row, he's won the National League's Player of the Month.
Well, if I'm Dusty Baker, I'm telling my pitching staff there's one guy on this ball club of the Pirates I am not allowing to beat me. That's Andrew McCutcheon. He's not done very well against the Reds so far this year. In fact, they've kept him in check, down to a batting average of only .230 against the Reds. But against everybody else, he's just knocking them dead. Don't allow him to take control of the series.
And meanwhile, the guy who's been knocking him dead ever since Joey Votto went down is Ryan Ludwig.
Well, Pirate fans know him because he was picked up by the Pirates in the second half of the year last year, and he had nowhere near the kind of stroke that he's got going on right now. I mean, he is driving the ball to all fields, and if you make a mistake, he's never fouling it back. He is all over it, driving it out of the ballpark. He's been a big key to this ball club.
It should be noted, here we begin, what so far is, anyway, the biggest series of the season for the Reds. No Votto, no Phillips, and because of his struggles against Wandy Rodriguez, no Jay Bruce in the Reds lineup. We'll talk more about that matchup. The Reds have recently seen Wandy Rodriguez, and Mat Latos will get the ball for the Reds. Weather-wise, this report brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. And here's our good friend, Michelle Boudelet.
There's a chance for a stray shower early in the game. Otherwise, muggy and partly cloudy. 81 by the 7th inning stretch, upper 70s by the end of the game this evening. For Fox Sports Ohio, I'm Local 12 meteorologist Michelle Boudelet.
All right, Michelle, thank you. Wandy Rodriguez, Chris, we just saw him as an Astro on the last road trip, now in his second start with the Pirates tonight.
That was kind of unusual because the first start he made as a Pirate was against his old team, the Houston Astros. And for me, when we saw him pitch against the Reds down in Houston, he looked disinterested. He wasn't into it with his error behind him in the field. He just did not seem like he was all that fired up. But I would imagine now that he's on a pennant-contending ball club, that attitude will change in a hurry. Mat Latos coming off a very good outing his last time out. That was 8 innings of 2-run baseball and 8 strikeouts against the Colorado Rockies. But against the Pirates back in May, he was lights out for 6 innings. How about 11 punch-outs? He had that breaking ball working. He was throwing a fastball by him. That's the kind of Mat Latos the Reds need to step up tonight.
Top two clubs in the National League Central set to collide in the first of 3. This is the first of 9 games left between these two this season.
Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincinnati USA, let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili, game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili tonight. Entrance at Great American Ballpark and a sellout crowd tonight, sellout crowd tomorrow. Tickets are still available for the series finale between the Reds and the Pirates on Sunday. Pirates and Reds, two of just three teams in the National League, make it four now with 60 or more wins on the season. Clint Hurdle's batting order as Marte, our first look at him in left. Snyder in right just came over from Toronto. And Andrew McCutchen in center. Garrett Jones at first, Neil Walker at second, Pedro Alvarez down at third. Barajas, Farmas, and Rodriguez, the latter third. Mat Latos trying to become a 10-game winner. He would need a victory to make that happen tonight.
He has won his last two decisions, and one of those is his last start against the Colorado Rockies. Before that, against the Houston Astros. So he's had his success as of late. 21 starts overall. He's got that record at 9-3. The Reds have gotten him a fair number of runs. They're averaging about 5.5 runs a game, and they'd love to be able to get out to that tonight. He's a strike thrower, he's a strikeout pitcher, and he's a guy that's going to need his breaking ball because this is a pretty good fastball hitting team the Pirates are running out there.
See the numbers for Latos in his career, 3-0 in 4 starts. Only one is a member of the Reds, and those numbers we showed you earlier. 6 innings, allowed just 2 hits and fanned 11 in Pittsburgh, but that's way back in May. In fact, you go back to the month of May. The Reds and the Pirates are 1-2 for best records in all the National League. That's since May the 25th. Pirates are 40-20. Reds 39-22. Of course, the Reds got hot about 3 weeks before that May 25th date to run into first place in the National League Central. So here we go. Starling Marte just called up from the minor leagues. Looks at a strike. We're underway. Marte playing in his 8th game. 8 hits in his first 32 at-bats with a pair of home runs. In fact, he hit a home run the very first pitch he saw in the big leagues. One hopper and rolling. Plants, throws, got it.
Now Marte likes the fastball, but he swings at that breaking ball after Latos is able to get a hold of him. And there's the always steady Scott Rowland at third base. But once he's got it in his hand, there's a good chance you're out because that throw is usually right on the money.
That'll bring Travis Snyder to the plate. Just came over in a deal at the trade deadline from Toronto, where he had spent most of this season with their AAA team. Put together a very good year last year. Toronto brought him up on the 20th of July and traded him to the Pirates just a few days ago. Tonight, only the 3rd game that Snyder has played as a Buck. 3 hits in his first 9 at-bats. Bob Davidson calls the balls and strikes tonight. Brian Gorman, the crew chief, at first. Todd Tishner at second base. Tony Randazzo, the umpire, at third. 3-0 the count on Snyder. And there's a 4-pitch walk. The Reds on defense brought to you by your Ford dealers. Tonight is the first game since the day after they clinched the National League Central Division title in 2010, where Votto, Bruce, and Phillips all not in the lineup. Phillips worked out before the game, said he felt good, and they're hoping he'll be ready to get back in the lineup tomorrow. Of course, Votto on the disabled list, and the computer got Jay Bruce. Wandy Rodriguez has pretty much owned him. Strike 1 to Andrew McCutchen. What a year he's having. The major league's leading batter. 373 batting average, 22 home runs, 66 runs batted in. He is the main man in this Pirate lineup. Good blocked by Hannigan, and Snyder, not very aggressive on the bases, goes back to first.
Well, ditto that for really the entire Pittsburgh team. They simply do not run at all. In fact, they've given up a whole bunch of stolen bases. They have not stolen very many themselves. And it's just not one of their fortes.
Glenn Hurdle in his second year as manager of the Pirates, 55 years old. Longtime manager in Colorado, got let go a couple of years ago there, and the Pirates brought him on board. He had him playing very good baseball through July last year, and then their season fell apart. Nobody believes that's going to happen to the Pirates this year.
Now that's the pitch right there that Latos has to establish as being able to throw for a strike. You just can't go out and throw your fastball for a strike and hope they swing at your breaking ball. Once you drop a couple of breaking balls in there, they'll have no choice but to chase it. McCutchen, he hits a fastball about as well as anybody.
On McCutchen, a National League All-Star again this season, and Latos will look over his shoulder to the plate, and it's 3-2. Pirates locked up McCutchen to a 6-year contract during spring training.
That was a pretty smart move, because you talk about having a guy that's enjoying a breakout year. Last year he batted .259. This year he is batting about 120 points higher than that. What do they call that? ROI, return on investment. They're getting it right away with Andrew McCutchen.
Getting better and better every year in the major leagues. His next home run will tie his career high set a season ago. In fact, the Pirates are about to hit more home runs this year than they did all of last year. There's a strike and a throw, and the runner is safe at second base. That's strike 3 on McCutchen. He didn't like the call.
Now, he didn't like it because he was called for swinging, did not check his swing, and Bob Davison called it at the plate rather than look down to the first base umpire for help. Did he go or did he not? Hard to tell from that angle, but it was a breaking ball, and McCutchen still walking very slowly back to the bat rack. Didn't think that he committed.
Runner at second base, 2 are out, and here's Garrett Jones. .272 batter, 16 home runs, and 52 batted in. Fastball right down the middle, strike 1. Jones, one of many Pirates right now, just raking offensively. A 9-game hitting streak, 11 hits in his last 33 at bats with 9 runs driven in during the hitting streak. And over the last 26 games, he's driven in 21 runs. Flanked off the glove of Hannigan. That'll more than likely be a pass ball, advancing Snyder down to third.
That's a rare pass ball right there. You just wonder if Ryan Hannigan may have gotten shielded a little bit by the bat. Kind of got it out there and then pulled it back just about at the same level that pitch was thrown at. No, not the bat at all. I just think he just didn't see that baseball. When it goes up that high, you rarely even see a catcher even follow with his eyes. It's more or less they put their glove up there with a sense of feel. But with 2 outs, that advance really shouldn't hurt you.
Check swing and a miss, and that one almost got by Hannigan.
Yeah, that's why they're going upstairs. You see how aggressive that Garrett Jones can be, especially on a fastball. His power is down and in, typical left-handed wheelhouse. But evidently he chases that high one too.
Runner at third, 2 are out, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Latos to Garrett Jones. Count even.
quiet murmur in this ballpark right now.
2-2 delivery. Got him swinging. Hannigan going to make the good throw down to first, and that's that. So Latos pitches around, the runner at third. The Reds come to bat, last of the first inning. Bravos. Shortstop Zack Cozart, Drew Stubbs in center, Ryan Ludwig in a 3-hole out in left field, Scott Rowland in a cleanup spot with Todd Frazier at first, Chris Heisey the start in right. Cairo, Hannigan, Latos, the latter third. Reds have seen a lot of Wandy Rodriguez through the years. In fact, they've seen him 3 times already this year.
Well, you know what you give with Wandy Rodriguez? He's a guy that normally will give his team 6 innings, give up about 3 runs, run his pitch count up to 110 over that time, and he's gone. But he's pitching for a contender now. That may make a little bit of a difference from his approach. 4 games under 500 in his career. This is start number 220 for this left-hander.
Cozart looks at a strike. 242 batter with 11 home runs, 23 batted in. Good breaking ball that drops in there to get ahead.
It's the kind of night that pitchers like because it's a humid night. It's not overly hot. You got a little bit of a breeze, and that breaking ball has some snap in it.
In the 3 starts this year, Rodriguez against the Reds 1-1 with an ERA of almost 6.5, and there's a base hit banged into left field by Cozart. Pirates defensively, presented by your Ford dealers. Starling Marte, Andrew McCutcheon, Travis Snyder in the outfield, Pedro Alvarez, Clint Barmes, Neil Walker, Garrett Jones. Third to first, Rod Barajas hangs a sign for Wandy Rodriguez. Pirates doing a lot of platooning right now at a couple of different positions, depending on a left-hander or right-hander. They'll make changes in their outfield. They'll make changes at first base. They switch them up behind the plate. So a lot of guys getting pretty decent playing time up and down their roster. Drew Stubbs looked at strike 1.
Yeah, and that's the kind of managing that Clint Hurdle likes to do. He likes to move guys in and out, match them up as you can. They've got a platoon situation, as you said, a number of different ways. He's got this ball club believing in themselves, I think, which is the biggest thing that he's done for this team so far.
One to Stubbs, 13 home runs, 35 batted in. He's been so good ever since Joey Votto went down, and really the 4 main Reds that have picked up the slack in the absence of Votto: Stubbs, Rowland, Phillips, Ludwig. Double play ball here if they hurry. Nope, not going to happen. Barmes just waited on that ball for that 1 extra bounce, and his flip to Walker had a little loft in it. Tonight, the first time all season long that Ryan Ludwig is hit in the number 3 spot in the batting order. Outside of Votto being the primary man there. Phillips 15 games, most of those while Votto's been out. Bruce 4. Frazier 1 game in a 3-hole. And now the hottest Red of them all gets his chance, and Ryan Ludwig. 15 games since Votto went on the disabled list. Ludwig a .422 batter, 6 home runs, and 20 runs batted in the 15 games. There's a 1-hopper. How about that? Stubbs was running. And the second baseman went to cover the bag, and it was a one-hopper right in his pocket. Wow. Lady luck smiling on the Pirates in the first.
We got 2 months left. I think we only have 2 more series to play them after this, once there and once here. And it's a big series. I mean, they're a different team than when we played them last time. They always play us tough. You know, they added some offense. They got some guys that swing the bats well. They always had good pitching, so I think it's going to be an outstanding series.
Part of our game storyline brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. And certainly both teams with a chance to make a pretty serious statement. For the Pirates, you know, they come in here, take 2 out of 3 or a sweep. Well, speaks volumes about where they plan on being come the middle, if not end of September and early October. For the Reds, coming in with a 3.5 game lead, they take 2 out of 3, or if they pull off a sweep. We learned last year from what the Cardinals did coming back in the wild card that you're never going to breeze into the postseason. What a play by Frazier. What a job he has done down there at first base with a glove.
You're not kidding about that. I mean, it really doesn't matter where you play Todd Frazier. He gives you a great effort, but the fact that he's right-handed allows him to make this play right there, robbing Neil Walker of a sure extra base hit. I mean, right over the bag, and there he is. Again, though, to have your first baseman on the line like that, that just shows you that the Reds have had good scouting. They're so confident of where these guys are going to hit the ball that they put them on the line, and there the ball goes.
Pedro Alvarez, the batter, at .235, 21 home runs, 58 batted in. Boy, things were going so bad for Alvarez. And since they got him back up, got him right, he's playing like the former #1 pick they expected. One and one to Pedro Alvarez. Really the first, well, nearly 2.5 months of the year. I mean, Alvarez was non-existent. They put him in the #4 hole. He went through a 4-week stretch where he hit 170. But going back to the middle of June, that's what he's done in the last 4 days. But you go back to the middle of June, and in 40 games, he's knocked in 31 runs. And only Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers has more home runs as a third baseman this season than the 21 of Alvarez. Rung him up on a fastball at 95 on the inside corner. 3 strikeouts for Latos.
That may have been his best pitch of the night right there. He had the Pirates chasing a couple of breaking balls in the dirt on 2 and 3 strike counts in the first inning. That time Alvarez may be reading that as a breaking ball, and it came right in on the corner. I tell you, Latos was throwing hard early tonight. He came out a little amped up, it looks like.
Now Rod Barajas, 203 batter. 8 home runs, 20 runs batted in. Ball and a strike. A lot of people out there keep waiting on these Pirates to sink where they have been for 19 consecutive years. And that's down in the standings and a less than .500 record. The last season, they had a winning record. You go back to 1992. 1992. That was the year they lost in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series to Atlanta when Sid Bream beat the throw from Barry Bonds, then of the Pirates, out in left field.
Do you know where you were when Sid slud?
No. Do you?
Yeah. On the couch watching the game. Couldn't believe it. Took him forever. Didn't think he'd ever make it home. Bad leg
you
and all.
remember who got the hit?
It was David Justice, wasn't it?
No.
I just watched the replay of that game not too long ago. I should remember who got that hit. What is that, our trivia question?
No, I'll give it to you in a minute. 2-2 the count. One hopper, plenty of time with Barajas running, and Cozart a good throw. Do you remember the name? Francisco Cabrera. C18th, the Reds and the Cubbies. 7-10 start. If you're one of the first 20,000 fans through the gates, you get a Barry Larkin Reds cap presented by Fox Sports Ohio. 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com tonight for tickets. Here's that hit, October the 14th, 1992, Game 7. Stan Belinda on the mound. Tying run scored. Here comes the winning run. Barry Bonds throw to Mike LaValliere just up the line, and David Justice, along with the rest of the Atlanta Braves, celebrate a trip to the World Series in 1992. Sid Bream, of course, grew up in Pennsylvania. Played for the Pirates 5 years before leaving as a free agent the year before. Jim Leyland wound up leaving shortly thereafter as their manager. And not a winning season since. That ball driven hard by Rowland into right. And what a nice play made by Travis Snyder.
Yeah, he misjudged that ball off the bat, did Snyder. He was a couple of steps in before he realized that Scott Rowland drove that ball a whole lot better than he originally thought. And he had to get back in a hurry, and he was right up against the wall by the time he ended up making that catch. That's a dandy defensive play for a guy that is really an offensive player.
Got to bring up Todd Frazier. He knocked in 3 runs, including a home run in the Reds' win over San Diego here yesterday. 13 home runs and 40 runs batted in for Frazier. Some momentum starting to build for Frazier. He's starting to get a lot more talk nationally about being a bona fide Rookie of the Year candidate.
Well,
and he should be.
The numbers bear it out. I mean, so many voters will just look primarily at the stat sheet, bottom line. They're not going to look for you game by game or where you played or what you did. They're going to look at the bottom line, and you see where he ranks among all the rookies. Top 3 in just about every good category there is.
Popped up right side of the infield. 2 out. Well, again, tonight is another night where some guys who, you know, generally have not been getting a lot of playing time here lately are going to have to step up. We've used that term a lot since Joey Votto went down, but tonight, no Votto, no Phillips, no Jay Bruce.
You know, you win games with a team without those stars in it, and it even galvanizes your ball club even more. It gives a sense of worth to those players that are getting some, you know, minimal playing time, but now you're playing in a big game. This is your opportunity to go do something and really feel good about yourself. Of course, this time of year, Dusty Baker's always trying to find a day here, a day there for a player, and this is a perfect day to rest Jay Bruce. Well, you've got a pitcher that really has your number, and you're in the middle of the summer, the dog days of summer. Why not give the guy a breather? And you tell him the night before so he can relax about it. Last thing you want to do is stress all night long about having to face Wandy Rodriguez, only to show up to the ballpark and realize he's not in the lineup anyway. Then you lost his nights of sleep for no good reason at all.
Two and two on Chris Heisey, who checks in at 274. Power numbers way down. 3 home runs and 20 runs batted in. Well, for Red, it's a Toyota sign during our game tonight. British Schwartz of Cincinnati will win the new Tundra on display here at the ballpark. And you can register for a chance to win it. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Pretty good at bat here by Heisey. Have a big contingent of folks here from Wright Pat, just south of Dayton, Ohio, at the ball game tonight. At a flyover just before the first pitch. Well, this crowd was roaring shortly after the national anthem. And this sellout crowd here at Great American Ballpark just waiting for a reason to get excited. Again, sold out tomorrow, but tickets are available for the afternoon game here on Sunday. Final game of this series and the final game of the homestand. 2-2 again. High fly ball into left field. Backing up is Marte, and it's off the wall. This could be an inside the park home run. It's going to be. Heisey rounding third. An inside the park, and safe as a call.
Sitting around waiting for something to happen, is there anything more exciting than an inside the park home run? Chris Heisey sees it go. He's not sure. Marte nearly comes up with that ball, but when it bangs off the wall and there's nobody to back up Marte, Andrew McCutcheon nowhere to be found. Heisey good speed. Barajas looked like he blocked the plate, but Heisey just got there ahead of it. Now that is something that happened.
Heisey gets his 4th home run of the season, and he's going to sit down there for a minute or two before he goes back into right field. So Heisey touches them all, an inside the park home run. Miller Time brought to you by Miller Lite, and an early nominee for Miller Time. We just saw it from Chris Heisey, 2nd inside the park home run for a Red this year. The other by Jay Bruce when they were in New York to play the Mets. Heisey, a powerfully built young man, but he is a fast runner. Good athlete. He's still huffing and puffing out there. Heisey, the 2nd of his career, the other, ironically, was in Pittsburgh on August the 2nd of 2010. So how about that? 2 years and 1 day against the very same team. When Barmes to lead it off against Mat Latos here in inning number 3. Reds with a 1-0 lead. Barmes, the pitcher, Rodriguez. And then starting Marte.
Well, two things happened on that particular play with the Pirates that allowed Heisey to have that inside the Parker. Number one, Andrew McCutchen was late getting over there to back up the left fielder. And the other was that when he did pick the ball up and throw it in, he missed the first cutoff man. And if you play it again, you'll see very slowly that when you miss the first cutoff man, Major League teams always have a second guy in reserve right behind him. So it goes to the shortstop, although it took more time to get there, and a very close play at the plate may have gone the other way had they done one of the two things differently.
It's a very good throw. Fly ball in the right field, and Heisey's there. And that's the way we begin the third inning. Wandy Rodriguez without a single hit in 38 at bats this season. Looks at ball one low.
But he is a switch hitter, so he's got that going for him. And he's only struck out 9 times in 38 plate appearances, so that's a hard 0-0-0. If there is such a thing.
Well, there is something to be said for the fact if you're only striking out 9 times. I mean, at least you are putting the bat on the ball. And he does so here. Off the second hop, Cairo throws him out. Fox Sports Ohio would love to welcome the folks from the Purple Heart as tonight's very special guest on the Fan Express to the Reds country. For more information how you and your group can get on the Fox Sports Ohio Fan Express to Reds country, call 513-765-7600 or visit reds.com/fan express. Boy, great to have them tonight. Thank them so much for their service. 2 out, none on. Here's Marte. He bounced out to Roland, leading off the game. Did he go around? They appeal. No, says Brian Gorman. Dominant third for Latos and a good start for the big right-hander. 4 strikeouts in the game and a 1-0 lead. Third, let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question tonight. Who was at bat when Glenn Braggs made a game-saving catch, Game 6 at Old Riverfront Stadium in the 1990 National League Championship Series against these Pirates? Of course, the wall wasn't very high, but you still got to make this play, and a huge play it was. Reds wrapped it up on that night. Game 6 of the LCS. Of course, a fellow who joins us here in the booth knows a thing or two about postseason baseball. The Hall of Famer, 2-time National League Most Valuable Player, Joe Morgan. How are you, sir?
That's great. I'm great. It's great to be here, and the Reds are great. Everything's going well right now.
You know, the last time you were in here, Joe, the Reds were really just starting to put together pretty consistent play and winning games consistently. Would you have imagined, though, they'd be 23 over?
No. I'm not going to tell everybody that I know. When Joey Votto went down, I said, well, let's just try to stay around 500 until he gets back. That's what I was thinking at first. But it just shows the toughness of these guys and the fact that, you know, I think you have to give Dusty and his coaching staff a lot of credit for getting this job done. And I'll tell you somebody else I want to give a lot of credit to is Chris Hannigan. Ryan Hannigan. He is, I was thinking you, Chris.
I'll take the credit,
yeah,
Joe.
But Ryan Hannigan, because, I mean, if you watch the way he's worked with these pitchers, you know, working them, hitting the ground with his glove, making them, you know, work hard. I mean, he deserves a lot of the credit for the fact that this pitching staff has pitched so well lately.
You're right. He's kind of like having a big brother and a cheerleader back there at the same time.
But make no mistake about it, he'll get on them, too.
He will do that.
Yeah,
That's where the
exactly.
big brother part comes in.
Right, okay.
Handing in a fly ball to right. Joe, I was starting to ask you before, when you sat down, as most people know, you started your major league career with the old Colt 45s, later to become the Houston Astros, and then the big deal that brought you to Cincinnati. And that's really when the Big Red Machine began to really get it chugging along and winning the World Series and getting to 3 of them in a 4-year time span. But, you know, playing in big games, a lot of people think it's during the postseason. You had never played in the playoffs before you came to Cincinnati. Is there something to be said for some of these younger Reds players who went through it 2 years ago and now having a big series in August here 2 years later?
No doubt that the first time you go through it, it's all new to you. You don't know what to expect. The next time you go through it, you know what. Not only do you know what to expect, you can kind of force feed yourself into these situations. Just to take it even further, my first year here, our first playoff, I struggled a little bit. Then I got in the World Series, and I really struggled. You know, so look, it took me a while to adjust to postseason play and the World Series. And then the next time I got into postseason play, I played really well, and then got in the World Series, I did really well. So there's something to be said about experiencing something for the first time and then going back to that same situation, you know, later on in your career.
All right, so what can Dusty Baker do for these young guys who've never been in that, maybe not even in the minor leagues, have been in playoff situations? What can he help them prepare for down the stretch here?
Well, I think the two guys that
second hit tonight for Zack Cozart.
I think the two guys that you might have some concern about, one just hit, Cozart, and of course Todd Frazier. They're two intricate parts of our team. So those are the guys you worry about. Being honest with you, you don't worry about, say, a guy in the bullpen that hasn't been through it, or even an extra man that hasn't been through it. But the guys that are going to be out there on the field all the time, those are the guys you worry about. I shouldn't say worry about. Those are the ones you have concern about. I think Cozart, personally, will not have a problem. I've watched him play. I've watched him grow into really a fine big league shortstop. And for getting hitting, he makes all the plays in the field, and that's what I want from my shortstop. And of course, Todd Frazier has been a big bat as well. So those are the two guys that I would, you know, love to know that they're going to be all right.
Well, aren't the playoffs really defined by pitching? I mean, after all, you're facing teams with the best pitching in the league. They've got a great number one, a great number two, and it never becomes a slugfest.
Well, two things that I always say, there are very few guys, make no mistake about it, in any lineup that can handle good pitching. There are some guys that can handle good pitching, and I don't want to brag or whatever, but the Reds that I played on, they could handle good pitching. They could handle the Tom Seavers. They could handle the Steve Carltons. Now, when you get to a team, you know, like, say, the Reds or the Pirates, usually there may be 3 guys that can handle real good pitching. The other guys, mediocre pitching, they can beat on, but not the real good pitching. And if you look at this team, you know, we probably have 3 or 4 guys. I don't want to get into names, but you have 3 or 4 guys that, in my opinion, can handle good pitching.
Joe Morgan, can you stick around for one more half inning?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to watch Marty.
I'm going to ask you about that in a minute, because you guys go way back.
Yes, we do.
Both of you like to think you're quite the style guys. We'll talk about it in a minute. Park, Penn Station East Coast subs located near sections 130, another at 414. When you come to see the Reds, stop by Penn Station East Coast subs. Sellout tonight, sellout tomorrow night. Tickets available on Sunday. Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, special advisor to Walt Jocketty and Bob Castellini, Reds Hall of Famer. Hey, by the way, I read your name a lot during the induction ceremony, and you're so active in the Hall of Fame. That was quite a weekend, obviously, for Reds fans, and Barry Larkin being there.
It was definitely a big weekend for Reds fans. I looked over to the left there, and all the Reds fans were together. It was really cool to have that kind of a camaraderie up there. Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate part, and I mean this, I love what I do up there, but it keeps me from really enjoying myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm vice chairman of the board of the Hall of Fame, so I end up going to a meeting here, a meeting there. Anything that comes up, I have to be involved in it. And I really do not get a chance to enjoy it like I want until that Sunday night when all the Hall of Famers are together, and really there's nothing else going on. I don't have to deal with anything else. So, but I'm saying that, but I'm enjoying being involved because I think it's a very important part of baseball history, and I just love being a part of it.
0-2 the count. Of course, Tim McCarver.
Right.
You know, the two of you guys. I mean, you really ran a neck-and-neck race for so many years as a top analyst from a national standpoint in all of baseball. And even though a lot of people might look at you two for many years as competitors, I know you always remain friends.
No.
Any great guy, as you well know.
Right. I know we were not competitors.
One out in the inning.
And it was an honor for me to introduce him because, you know, I think some people had that sense that we were competitors because they called me and said, you know, do you want to introduce Tim? I said, of course I do. You know, I introduced John Miller. I introduced, you know, that was kind of become my job, so to speak, up there. And it was an honor for me to introduce an analyst. You know, in the past I've only been introducing play-by-play guys who were deserving, and now, you know, we had an analyst go in, and that's great. So I guess Tony Kupak went in the last analyst, if I'm correct, before McCarver. So no, it was an honor for me to do that, and I think, you know, he appreciated it, and it was great. I said, hey, it was great, you know.
What do you think of this young man right here, Andrew McCutchen?
I just mentioned to Walt Jock, I said, you know what's amazing to me is for a guy to be right-handed hitter to be hitting 370. And normally that's left-handed hitters because obviously the league is predominantly right-handed. You face more right-handed pitchers. But I am, you know, you just go back. You do not see a lot of right-handed hitters hit 370.
Well, there's so many right-handed pitchers in the league. He's got to learn how to either hit the slider or lay off that slider.
And I think the one thing he's done, Chris, is learn to lay off the bad ones. He can hit the good ones, but he chased the bad one in the first inning, and that was kind of the old McCutchen. You know, before when I watched him play, you could throw him a lot of breaking balls, especially after he got 2 strikes, and he would chase them. This year, watching him, I've seen him a lot on TV. He is more patient. He's getting more strikes, and if you throw the breaking ball in the strike zone, he can hit it.
Well, doesn't it really come down to strike zone management anyway to take you to the next level? I mean, last year this guy hit 259, and this year he's hitting 370. So, I mean, obviously he hasn't gotten bigger and stronger. No. He's just gotten smarter. I've tried to impress, being honest with you, on Brandon Phillips. Brandon's hitting 290, stays right around there. Well, that's the 370 hitter right there, right back through the middle. 3-1 fastball.
Yeah, but you know, with Brandon to me, if he was a little more patient, he would add 15 to 20 points to his batting average. I see Brandon, I was watching in Colorado the other day. First time up there was a sinker low and away, and he grounds it to third base. Next time up, he took that same pitch, and then he got a pitch to hit, base hit. I mean, but you got to do it over and over, and that'll change his batting average from 290 probably to 315 or 20.
First hit of the night for the Pirates against Latos comes with 1 out off the bat of McCutchen here in the 4th inning. Reds on an inside the park home run by Chris Heisey. In the 2nd inning with a 1-0 lead, McCutchen has 14 steals in 21 attempts.
And he's the only guy really on this ball club that you worry about from a stolen base standpoint. With Latos on the mound, that's a factor. He gives him up because he's big and long, and it takes him a little longer to unload the baseball.
Joe, I'm curious if you think, you know, for so many years the stolen base was such a big part of the game of Major League Baseball, especially in the National League. And then all of a sudden guys came around, they got bigger and stronger, and everybody fell in love with the home run ball, and that was the excuse many used for no longer teams running much anymore. Now that home runs are down, and I think we all agree a lot of that has to do with the testing for steroids and so forth. With the home run ball down significantly over the last 2-3 years, do you think we're going to see a rebirth of the running game in baseball?
I don't know if we'll get back to where we were, but we'll see some changes made. I started thinking about this, you know, a couple of years ago, that we would now get back to playing baseball, is the way I call it. You know, hitting and running, going from first to third, stealing a base here and there, just doing things to move runners. Whereas, as you mentioned, in the long ball era, they were waiting, everybody's waiting for the 3-run homer. No one did anything. You get on base and just wait for somebody to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So that changed the concept of the game. But now I think we're not hitting as many home runs. So now you see more and more guys trying to do that, trying to, make themselves important by being able to steal a base, by being able to go from first to third. I mean, everybody thinks that you only have to steal bases. No, the running game is a lot. I mean, just think of Pete Rose. Pete Rose always went first to third, right? Just think about those kind of things. That's what, and truthfully, 2 years ago, we did that consistently.
Now, has anything changed defensively, in your opinion? I mean, have catchers gotten better? Have pitchers gotten better with their moves? You're always one of the best around ever as far as picking up a guy's move, finding the one thing in his delivery that would key him and give you an idea whether he's going home to first. Has that changed at all?
Well, we saw Latos the pitch before with a slide step, so to speak. Watch, he doesn't go see that little slide step there. Being honest with you, that wouldn't stop me.
But well, you'd have a big enough lead anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd way beyond that cutout.
And after a while, you should be able to figure out what he moves first, because that leg is not the first thing he moves. I'm not going to give any of that away, of course, but he moves something else before he moves that leg. So those are the things you have to do, but a lot of guys aren't able to do that. So the slide step does help, prevent, the stolen base.
0-1 to Walker, a guy who's just worn out the Reds through the years, and Latos gets ahead of him at 0 balls and 2 strikes. Walker hit that rocket up the first base line, but Frazier was playing right on the line, made a step and a dive into foul ground, and took away a sure extra base hit his first time up. These Pirates look like they're in it for the long haul this year.
I don't think there's any doubt. You have to give them a lot of credit, and especially Hurdle, their manager, a lot of credit, because he started it last year, and this is just a continuation.
Runner goes, good pitch to throw on, and they got him. And there's the guy Joe started all this with, Hannigan.
Yeah.
Joe, as if on cue, we can't thank you enough.
Always my pleasure, man.
Always, when you're around, you're always welcome.
All right, well, I'll take advantage. I'll just drop in.
And you're going to have your hair by the end of the night.
Yeah. All right.
The great show. Creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com, and by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T Rethink Possible. Sunset in the Queen City. Opening game of the 3-game showdown series here in early August. 2 of only 4 teams in the National League with 60 or more wins. Reds with a 3.5 game lead in the division going into play tonight, and on the first pitch in the inning, Ludwig a fly ball to left, 1 pitch, 1 out. Wandy Rodriguez, part of our Farmers Insurance report card, the way he began the year, what's happened ever since. All of those numbers except for 1 start as an Astro.
You wonder, though, really, playing for the Astros, they struggled so much, especially as the season began to go on. They started changing personnel. And you have a veteran pitcher like Wandy Rodriguez, who's, 30 years old now, and he's got to be looking around him saying, man, oh, man, I mean, do we really care around here? And sometimes, even subconsciously, that can etch on you and take away some of your better efforts.
Second time, Rowan is lifted 1 into right.
I mean, as a professional, you say, well, no, that would never happen. But bottom line is, you're a human being. And if you're playing for a team like the Reds, I mean, you can't wait to get to the ballpark. You're juiced up every day. You're playing for a second division ball club. And that summer gets longer and longer. The road trips get longer. The home stands get longer. You go out there and pitch knowing full well that you're pitching against Johnny Cueto and the Cincinnati Reds, and Johnny Cueto is pitching against your ball club that can't hardly manage a hit anyway. That's got to really wear on you, and I think that Rodriguez is going to be a nice pickup for these guys just because he's a veteran. He throws strikes for the most part, and he'll give them a good solid 6 innings just about every time out.
Well, working in the 4th inning, 3 pitches to get the first 2 outs, and a hit 0-1 on Frazier. And He swings and pops it up and out of play.
Well, he doesn't get cheated, does he? Man, oh man. A guy that can look so bad on one swing and so good on the very next offering. Go ahead and let it rip right here. I'll tell you what, back in Joe Morgan's day, you take a hack like that, you're on your seat the next pitch. Can you imagine swinging like that against Nolan Ryan?
No. Joe was part of a fascinating TV show they did on the MLB Network during the Hall of Fame weekend, where sat down with, I think Johnny Bench was there, Al Kaline. That ball's driven into right center field, and a play for Snyder, and that will retire the side. A quick, perfect fourth for Rodriguez. We move to the fifth. Reds in front by a run. Fox, 4 huge fights, including knockout artist Shogun Rua taking on Brandon Vera, plus an epic bout between former UFC champion Lyoto Machida and rising star Brian Baber. UFC Fight Night on Fox, sponsored by Bud Light from Los Angeles. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Well, Joe Morgan stopping down to say hello to Charlie Sheen. Huge Reds fan. We saw him out in Los Angeles. We saw him in San Diego. His father's here. There you see to the right, Martin Sheen with Bob Castellini Jr. Martin Sheen from the Dayton area, if I'm not mistaken, and that's what Charlie told us out in San Diego, that his dad's a big fan, but his dad's brother, an even bigger baseball fan, and he was the one that used to bring Charlie and his siblings down to Riverfront Stadium as a youngster. He told us in San Diego he was coming to this series, and here he is. Neil Walker was at the plate when Andrew McCutchen was gunned down at second trying to steal, ending the 4th inning. Reds with a 1-0 lead. Broken bat pulled foul. Told you, Walker is always a guy, for whatever reason, who has just lit up the Reds. They're hoping to slow him down somehow, some way here tonight. His last 7 games in this ballpark, better than a .410 batting average. I'd like to send out a hearty congratulations to Frankie and Phyllis Goebel, celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary yesterday. So Frankie and Phyllis, congratulations. Wow, 50 years. 1-2 to Walker. He had a good pitch to hit right there and fouled it back. Fastball at 95. Latos has only allowed 1 hit. That was a 1-out single an inning ago to McCutchen. He's fanned 5, walked 1. But Walker was the second batter of the game.
For the most part, Latos is in the count where he is right now, ahead in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's been getting that first pitch in there for a strike, and that makes a huge difference. One of the rare times he did fall behind was the 1 base hit he gave up. A 3-1 count to Andrew McCutchen. Came in there with a fastball rather than walking him, and he lined it back up the middle for a knock.
Latos technically is pitching for the 2nd time in his very young career, right smack dab in the middle of a postseason race. San Diego had that surprising year, much like these Pirates are right now, in 2010. That one hit a mile foul. Latos was the single most dominant pitcher in the entire National League for about a 2.5-month run. But coming up through the minor leagues, he had really never pitched an entire month of September. And so when the Padres were in it, Latos was beginning to run out of steam, and you can understand that. He's 22 years old. But here he is now, a couple of years older. We like to think wiser, certainly more experienced, and figures to pitch in a lot of big games for this Reds franchise, not only in 2012, but perhaps many years to come. Such a young team.
You see the slight nod of the head, though, by Ryan Hannigan, who moved well off the plate right there. So, see, he's not even anywhere close to being in the strike zone. So he holds it right there. So he gives everybody in the stands it to look like he hit the mitt. But Davidson wasn't fooled by it. That's to help Mat Latos make sure he doesn't miss over the middle of the plate.
Nine pitches so far in this at bat to begin the 5th inning.
Well, your dad's celebrating his birthday tonight. Home plate umpire Bob Davidson celebrating his birthday tonight. He turned 60. And we just showed Martin Sheen celebrating a birthday tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They usually call him Balkan Bob. Tonight you have to call him Birthday Bob.
There'll be an 11th pitch in this at bat. And technically today is not my dad's birthday. You guys were in Denver, I believe, over the weekend on July the 28th. But he's back in the booth after missing the San Diego series, getting 4 days off, and take a good long look at the Silver Fox. That's called short timing.
You'll be in a baggie pretty soon.
11th pitch to Walker. And he draws a walk. That's an excellent at bat.
Like we do from time to time, we get fed by some of our sponsors. Tonight it was big time up in the booth. Papa John's sent a bunch of pizza up here. Feed the whole crew. Man, was it delicious, and we thank them so much for their consideration.
We do. So now to be Alvarez. He struck out his first time up on a fastball at 95 on the inside corner. This time a fastball at 91 on the outer edge.
But that's really the difference for Latos between a 4-seam fastball and a 2-seam fastball. The 2-seamer always a couple of miles an hour slower normally. Latos will throw both of them. And he'll throw that 4-seamer on his glove side inside to a left-handed hitter. But the key for him is really not to try to make it do anything special, but to get good extension. Just make sure he gets way out over his front knee, clear his hip, and reach as far as he can towards the catcher's mitt. Coming back in here now.
Double play ball here. Oh, it took a bad hop, and Cairo's still going to get the lead runner. That's a nice play by Cairo. That just took a bad bounce on him, it looked like. But he stayed in front of it, didn't panic, and gets a lead runner, 1 out in the inning.
Miguel Cairo, he does get a bad hop right there. He's usually pretty sure-handed. That ball right at him. You're able to stay with the baseball, get one, and that's the most important thing. Boy, he was part of a tremendous double play the Reds made yesterday. Zack Cozart fielding the ball behind the bag, flips it to Cairo, barehanded. Man, oh man.
Doesn't get any better now.
He's been watching Brandon Phillips films, I think. A true pro.
So now the catcher, Rod Barajas, he grounded out to Cozart his first time up, and that one gets away. That'll be a wild pitch earlier in the first inning. Hannigan was hung with a pass ball. But now the tying run in scoring position with one out here in the Pittsburgh 5th inning. Latos not fooling around, gets that ball back. Hands on knee, now stands tall. And a 2-1. This is trouble towards the right field corner. And that is a foul ball, not by much. Well, you rarely see Barajas hit the ball the other way.
I don't think he really meant to do that. I think it was just a good fastball down, and he was slightly late on it. He'll run into a fastball from time to time, though, and he'll hit it a long way. He's batting only around 200, but he's got 8 bombs. He's really helped them behind home plate. That was one of the things the Pirates had to do. They had to get somebody behind home plate who could play every day, handle the pitching staff. Ryan Doman hit 300 for him last year, and they shipped him out because they didn't want his defense. So they traded a good offensive catcher for a very good defensive catcher.
And he'll share time back there with Michael McKenry. I'm sorry. We'll see him in this series.
He's hit some home runs now.
Yep. 2-1 pitch. There's a fastball. It's fouled straight back.
They really had a big makeover from last year. Pedro Alvarez, the third, was there, but Ronnie Cedeno, the shortstop, he's gone. Jose Tabata's gone. Garrett Jones is playing first base. Lyle Overbay's gone. Ryan Doman's gone. So those are the guys that are left over. And they wanted to become better defensively. They wanted to have better pitching. And so far, the formula has worked for the Pirates.
I don't know what's going on down here. If there's some fan that's all over the home plate umpire. Looks like Bob Davidson walked over to a fan sitting in the first row down in the Diamond Club seats and really gave him an earful and then got a new set of baseballs from the bat boy and back to home plate.
Well, if you remember, Bob Davidson, he has thrown out an organ player out of a ballpark. I'll look it up to see when, for playing 3 blind mice on the organ. He knows his tunes, huh? I'll name that tune and you're out of here.
2-2 pitch. And again, Latos, he's not been too kind of a birthday Bob.
Well, you see the quick frame action by Ryan Hannigan. That's the way at home when you're watching the ball game from that center field camera. You can tell whether the catcher really thinks it's a strike or not. If he holds his glove there without moving it, it's a strike. If he moves it to try to frame it, he's trying to buy one.
3-2 on Barajas is high. 2 walks in the inning for Latos. Now we have talked about it, and here comes Brian Price. Latos just turned 24. And like a lot of young people, and we've all been down that road, you know, you like to think as you get a little bit older, you find a way to curb your temper if you have one of those. Latos has one and has had a tendency in his major league career to get bothered by the umpires' strike zone behind the plate. And maybe Brian Price sensed a little bit of that here in this top of the 5th inning. All right, first major threat of the night against Latos. 2 on, 1 out. Reds with a 1-0 lead. And here's the number 8 batter, Clint Barmes. It's a big batter for Latos. And maybe a double play. Cozart, Cairo, and it is. Call it presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing on Fox Sports Ohio, the exclusive home of Reds baseball. That's Freddie Benavidez down there, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Well, right now at FoxSportsOhio.com, the Browns have a new owner, and he's a Steeler fan, or at least a part owner of the Steelers before he bought that club. Plus all the coverage from Firestone at the Bridgestone Invitation in Akron, Ohio, at FoxSportsOhio.com. Mat Latos inducing that double play ball off the bat of Clint Barmes. After walking a couple of batters in the top of the 5th, gets out of trouble. So Wandy Rodriguez faces the Reds in the last of the inning. Cincinnati 1, Pittsburgh 0.
Tom, I got to go back and fix something I said wrong about Bob Davidson. He did not throw out an organist for playing 3 blind mice. That was another umpire. Won't get into that. But he did eject a mascot back in Montreal. Remember Youppi?
Sure.
Well, he tossed Youppi wearing a nightgown and dancing on top of the visiting dugout.
What's wrong with that?
I see nothing wrong with that. Tommy Lasorda didn't seem very happy about it, and he was the one that prodded Davidson into the ejection. Maybe they're in it together. Not the nightgown.
I hope not. Popped up to Barmes, and there's one away in the inning. Heisey had that inside the park home run for the lone run of this game and came back in the 2nd inning. Boy, it is a lovely night here in Cincinnati. We had a lot more cloud cover today than all the sunshine we've had of late, so it cooled things down a bit. And a very comfortable evening for the opener. Sellout crowd at Great American Ballpark. Sold out tomorrow. But again, we remind you there are tickets still available for the finale. That is a 1:10 start time here Sunday afternoon. Reds and the Pirates. Reds will have Homer Bailey on the mound. The Pirates have juggled their rotation. There's a ground ball to short. Barmes will throw out Cairo. I mean, it gives you an idea about how Clint Hurdle's looking at this series. Eric Bedard, a left-hander, was the scheduled starter for the series finale. And he has brought his ace working on short rest.
Well,
actually, I mean, he gets a full amount of rest because they had an off day yesterday, but he's going to go ahead and put in A.J. Burnett. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you're going to bump the left-hander. That's part of it right there. The Reds have such a heavily laden right-handed hitting ball club, especially with Joey Votto out. And, of course, Hurdle doesn't know if Votto will be back or not to play on Sunday. There's all sorts of rumors swirling back and forth. But he saw what the Reds did to the previous 4 lefties that they saw in Colorado, and then what they did also to Wandy Rodriguez and down in Houston. So, you know, you got a choice to bring in your #1 guy, and he's right-handed against a right-handed lineup. That's a no-brainer.
Today, the first time Joey Votto has been on the field taking batting practice. He's done everything else: light running, cutting, fielding ground balls, throwing, but had not hit until today.
I'll tell you what, he came out hitting line drive after line drive. Maybe not driving a ball opposite field out of the ballpark like he normally does during BP, but there were no pop-ups. And when he fouled one off into the screen, he was angry. Same old Joey Votto.
Hannigan bangs one into right field to keep the 5th inning alive. It'll bring Latos to the plate. No sign of Latos. Wasn't in the on-deck circle, and now he'll come springing out of the Reds dugout.
Yeah, he had a couple of words for Bob Davidson at the very end of the inning. It's unusual that you see this, but he walked in from the pitcher's mound right to Bob Davidson and went over and calmly talked to him. And it didn't seem like it was the most cordial of conversations, but you know, Matt maybe wanted to explain to him, hey, did you miss this pitch, or did I miss that pitch? That was a one-way conversation. Look, Matt did the talking and Davidson did the listening. That's a switch.
And he bangs this one into deep left field, and Latos is over to left. His first home run as a Red, the third of his major league career, and a 3-0 Cincinnati lead. Wow, with 2 outs, a single and a bomb.
How about that? You keep the inning alive. At the very least, you get the pitcher up and looking for a first pitch fastball, and the reaction from Wandy Rodriguez. Oh, no. Boy, he creamed that one.
And how about Cozart?
That is perfect timing.
That is Cozart's 3rd hit tonight.
This ball, a shot. If you look closely at the very end of this, a Pirate fan catches it and then just flips it up over his head. There it goes.
So Mat Latos, a 2-run home run on the heels of the 2-out single to right by Hannigan.
Loop and a blast.
It's nice to see him get back in that dugout, Chris, and very serious, not jacking around with his teammates about a pitcher hitting a home run, all that stuff. He's focused in on the task at hand.
Well, I think it also may take him off of the edge that he had with Bob Davidson, too. If this was a quick 1-2-3 inning and Davidson went out there and say, Latos thought he got squeezed a couple of times. You know, an umpire, if you show him some bad body language, they can make it tough on you. So this gives the Reds an edge. Maybe takes Mat Latos out of that frame of mind that he was more thinking about Davidson than anything else.
Oh, and 1 on Stubbs. Breaking ball and a dandy by Rodriguez to get ahead at 0-2. One-two delivery and another breaking ball, and this one misses just a little bit low. 2-2 to Stubbs. First 2 batters easily retired in this inning by Rodriguez, who is coming off a perfect 4th. But then Hannigan shot one out of the reach of the second baseman Walker. Latos on the first pitch, a liner to the seats and left. Then Cozart a bunt hit, and now 3-2 on Stubbs.
Does not look like Wandy Rodriguez all that anxious to throw Stubbs a fastball for a strike. The only fastball he's thrown him in this at bat has been in off the plate to try to make him move his feet.
Cozart to be off. 3-2 again, and a little bleeder in his short left. This is going to fall, a base hit, and easily first to third is Cozart. 4 consecutive 2-out hits. With a chance to do some major damage.
You make contact right there instead of a strikeout, and you never know what happens. You don't have to hit it hard. And we've seen fewer strikeouts from Stubbs this year, more of those, and you just keep the inning alive. Keep the line moving.
Ray Searage, the Pirate pitching coach, will visit Wandy Rodriguez on the mound. And it gives us a chance to answer our AT&T trivia question. We asked it earlier when Glenn Braggs, in the clinching game to send the Reds to the 1990 World Series, a game-saving catch up and over the wall at Riverfront Stadium. Who hit that ball? Carmelo Martinez. It was an opposite field shot by Martinez. Well, that was such a huge play in that game. One-run game. Pirates had a man aboard at the time. That would have given them the lead late. Well, we're only in the fifth, but Ludwig with a chance to make it a mighty tall order for the Pirates to come back in this game. Right now, 3-0. More than manageable.
Well, looking first pitch fastball to be certain.
It's a good pitch.
Maybe not looking first pitch fastball.
Well, that's a pitcher strike there, right? Knee high inside corner.
Yeah, but a fastball on the first pitch. Now that I mean Ludwig likes the ball out over the plate, so you're right. I mean, it was well placed. Going to come right back in there. You know, Rodriguez, you watch him on the radar gun and you see 88, 89, 90. You never really see 92, 93, but it just seems like he throws harder.
It does.
I mean, the way the hitters react, it seems like the guy's dialing it up to 94 every once in a while. Like that last pitch.
One. And again, they come inside with another fastball. Cozart at third, across the diamond, leading at first is Drew Stubbs. 2 are out, 2 are in. Off speed and way out in front was Ludwig. Here's some money pitch here in this at bat. They're coming in again. Struck him out on a fastball up. But the Reds get a 2-run home run from the most unlikely source in their lineup, Mat Latos. Reds 3, Pirates nothing.
There is no man on earth who has had a greater love affair with his hair than I have. Very passionate love affair. And now it's going to be all gone. Brings a tear.
It does bring a tear to my eye.
It brings one to mine, too.
That was my conversation with Marty Brennaman before today, while he still has those silver locks. And coming up after the game, yep, right here live on Fox Sports Ohio, Marty B will be shaving his head, a man of his word. Which brings us to our Meyer Dex Bowl question. Allegedly, someone said that I had previously said that I would shave my head if the Reds won the World Series. I allegedly said that, I guess. But which of the Reds broadcasters should be the next to shave their head? Here's what you do. Give your answer to 37664. Text 1 for Tom Brennaman, 2 for Chris Welsh, 3 for Jim Kelch, 4 for Jeff Brantley, or 5 for Jeff Pecoro. Text 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 37664. Standard text message rates apply. Well, the results coming up.
Well, I can tell you right now, you saw the circle go in. As there's the first hit of the season for Wandy Rodriguez. On an 0-1 pitch, he swats one up the first base line that gets by Frazier. So in his 40th at bat of the year, Wandy has his first base hit. Reds lead 3-0 after the 2-run home run by Mat Latos.
Okay, Mr. Math, what's that make his batting average?
1 out of 40.
Very good.
Right.
My answer too.
I told you I'm not doing it anymore. But you and I are in full agreement. I think most Reds fans would be in agreement, right? That the next to shave his head, if the Reds were to win the World Series, without a doubt, should be the Cowboys.
Oh, absolutely. That they would match that way. I mean, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, it should be the Cowboy. What a play by Cozart on a hot smash that turns into a double play. That was not an easy try for the slick fielding Reds rookie shortstop Zack Cozart.
Boy, Mat Latos is getting the ground ball double play when he needs it, or at least getting the ground ball when he needs it. That one right at the shortstop, just what the doctor ordered there. You know, when you're Cozart on that play, really all you want to do is make sure you get your body in front of it. If you field it cleanly, you've got a chance for 2, but you've got to get 1.
How good has Cozart been on the defensive side this year?
I mean, does he look at all like a rookie?
No. He's been asked to do what very few rookies are asked to do on a team contending to win a divisional championship, and that's hitting the leadoff spot. You know, when the year began, they had him batting way down in the order, but when the injuries started to pile up and Dusty Baker was forced to shift his lineup, Cozart is hit in the 1 spot, the 2 spot primarily the entire year. I don't think there's any debate we're going to see a far better offensive player batting average wise, power number wise as the years go forward. But boy, if he's had any struggles at times on offense, they have not gone into the field of play defensively.
You like Cozart's tools, you like his approach, his work habit, but I really like his baseball IQ. I think that you project him as a guy that will get better and better because he's willing to learn. His strike zone management will simply get better and better. That alone will make him a much better offensive player.
Hook to the right side by Snyder, inning over. Mat Latos has given up 2 hits and knocked in 2 runs. They take on the Cubbies here at Great American Ballpark, and after the game we'll have the big post-game fireworks show presented by Corson Fire and Security. Reds and the Cubs Friday, August 17th. 381 Reds, or visit Reds.com tonight for tickets. Opening game of this 3-game series, the Reds and the Pirates. Top 2 teams in the National League Central and 2 of the top 4 best records in all of the National League. In fact, there are 2 teams in the National League Central, these 2. There are 2 teams in the National League East. The Nationals and the Braves that have won 60 or more. The Giants and the Dodgers are still 4 wins shy of that number. This ball is hit in the air to deep right center by Roland. Boy, he's just had tough luck tonight. He has 2 balls right on the nose, and both of them lineouts.
Well, this is a night, Tom, which is kind of an unusual for an August night. The ball not carrying like it normally does. Wind blowing out of the west a little bit, but not really helping that ball. Normally that ball gets into the gap and really takes off. Not so tonight.
Todd Frazier is popped up to first and flied out to right field. Reds got an inside the park home run by Chris Heisey in the 2nd inning. With 2 outs and nobody on in the 5th, Ryan Hannigan singled into right, and Mat Latos hit a line drive to the first row of the seats above the wall in left center. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Reds, no runs, 2 hits for Pittsburgh. Reds fans, if you're looking for a quick and delicious meal the whole family will enjoy, try JTM's Meatball Sub Kits. You can pick them up in your local grocer's freezer. JTM. Let's create great dishes together. It's popped up, and this will be an easy play for Snyder. 2 out.
That's one of those fastballs I was talking about. 89 miles an hour, seemingly right down Broadway, but it just gets on the hitter much quicker than it appears. Must be killing him to sit.
Well, he was saying the other day that, he thinks that, one of the traits, the drive and the intensity that helps him when he is playing has certainly been one of the things that has hurt him the most while sitting. There's a swing and a miss, and that will retire the side. Rodriguez with a perfect 6th inning. We march to the 7th. Reds in front, 3-0. Heisey, a high fly ball with 2 outs to left in the 2nd that turned into an inside the park home run. 2nd in Heisey's career, 2nd for the Reds this season. And then Latos with a runner at first and 2 outs. First pitch of his at bat in the 5th. 2-run home run. And he's been mighty good on the mound.
No, he has. He's got a fastball up to 95, 96. But better than that, he's placed it very well. Gotten ahead of the hitters. Rolled up a double play ball when he needed it. Number 9 on the year for Mat Latos. And, hey, combination of good pitching, good defense, timely hitting. That's been the Reds' formula all year long, and they lead them by 3 in the 7th.
Pirates have hit into 2 double plays coming into the game. They had bounced into the fewest number of those in the National League. All right, heart of the order here. You got 3, 4, and 5. Andrew McCutchen is 1 for 2. Struck out swinging in the 1st. Single to center on a 3-1 pitch in the 4th. Up the middle, but Cairo is there.
Boy, how about the exacting defense the Reds play? Unbelievable. He hits a fastball. We'll take a look at it in our Boston pitch by pitch. They're going to pitch him away, trying to make him go the other way. Fastball outside, go out there one more time, and wow. That ball up, almost probably off the plate a little bit, almost through the wickets. Latos has to put his head down thinking, well, that's a base hit. Only to look up and see Miguel Cairo standing there with the baseball.
Garrett Jones has struck out swinging twice tonight. Latos has 5 of those. All 5 came in the first 4 innings. Popped up, should be out number 2.
Great pitch there. Change up. Good call by Ryan Hannigan. You know, you really never see Mat Latos shake his head. He'll stand there and he'll stare at the catcher. And if he stares long enough, the catcher will put down a different sign. The catcher in his case is always Ryan Hannigan. I think for the most part he's allowed Ryan Hannigan to call his games. Very astute catcher, studies the scouting reports, knows the hitters. That was a great call right there.
Now Neil Walker with 2 down, none on. He's been robbed of a double on a diving play by Frazier up the first base line, his first time up. And then Walk leading off the 5th. Next pitch for Latos, number 90. That's a dandy there. 2-0 breaking ball. There was a case, what you just said, Chris. He looked in there a long time. He never shook him off. Was almost waiting, and Hannigan said, come on, throw it.
Well, you know, there are some batters that will anticipate a pitch based on how many times you shake your head. What I mean is, what you think is a fastball count, if you shake once, it's a curveball. If you shake twice, it's a changeup. So he decided a long time ago he just doesn't shake at all. He'll go with it.
It's foul ball.
Tell you what, he's got a good feel of his breaking pitches. The first inning he didn't. I mean, he threw a ball at the backstop. He, on 3-2 counts, he threw the ball down in the dirt, but had Andrew McCutchen check swing for a strikeout. Did the same thing on a slider with Garrett Jones. He went after one in the dirt. But ever since then, he started to get his rhythm, his sea legs. And, you know, a big guy like Latos, when he gets it going, you know, you look back and you think, man, the opportunity they had in the first inning may be the only one they get.
Tapper over the mound. There's Cozart, and that, my friends, is a 1-2-3 inning through the heart of the order, and Latos pumping his fist. 7 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball so far. The Reds with you by subscribing to MLB.tv today. Baseball everywhere. And join us this Sunday for pregame action at Reds Live. Set for Sunglass Sundays. 100 folks will receive free sunglasses courtesy of Fox Sports Ohio and the Ohio Department of Public Safety, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over. Amen to that. Well, what a beautiful take me out to the ball game rendition they had here in between innings a moment ago, celebrating my dad's birthday, his 70th birthday, and they've been counting down for Marty Brennaman's 70 greatest calls in his 39 years as a Reds broadcaster. That one popped up into right by Cairo, 1 out. But many, many years ago, clearly over at the old Riverfront Stadium, Marty and Joe Nutsall did their rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game, just the two of them sitting in the old broadcast booth over there. I mean, this entire place was standing and cheering after they ran that. The two of them gave each other a big kiss at the end of it. It was great stuff.
Don't get any ideas.
Well, here's Hannigan. He had that 2-out single, and you thought, all right, well, it's good that he got on base, good that he got a hit. And, of course, good that the pitcher was going to go ahead and get cleared out of the way to bat in that bottom half of the 5th inning. And then, wham! Latos, a home run to the front row and left center field. Deep in the hole, Barmes. Pretty slick play right there by Clint Barmes.
Boy, that's one of the better plays you'll see by a shortstop. I mean, he ends up in foul territory by the time he stops his momentum after this. I mean, way over there. I'm not so sure even right now whether Garrett Jones actually kept his foot on the bag. I guess he did. Big round of applause for Mat Latos as he gets introduced. first pitch fastball this time.
Fouled that one off his left front foot. He's limping out some of the pain. Here's that home run into fifth.
First pitch of the inning, I mean, right down Broadway. I still love the way that Pirate fan who caught it just took it and flipped it up over his shoulder. If he threw it back on the field, he probably was afraid of being ejected.
By Bob Davidson.
And missing the haircut.
Here we go in the 8th. Auto Mall, visit KingsHondaUSA.com. And of course, tonight we'll have the coverage of my dad getting his head shaved. All right, the results from our Meyer text poll, and apparently most of you agreeing it should be the Cowboy. Although look at Chris Welsh, garnering the second most percentage.
Barely edging out Tom Brenneman.
Win a Fox Sports Ohio Meyer prize pack. Text Meyer, M-E-I-J-E-R, to 37664 to be entered.
How did Jim Day not get on that list?
Because he has already gone on record as saying that he will do it if the Reds win the World Series. Cowboy says no, no. And then Seg Dennison there behind him. Of course, Seg is getting a crew cut, and Dave Yiddy Armbruster, the producer, sitting to the left there of your screen, sitting behind my dad, he is getting his head shaved. Bill Cunningham from WLW Radio put all those guys up to that. All right, but more important matters as the Pirates bat in the 8th inning. Reds 3, Pittsburgh nothing. Latos has allowed 2 hits. A single by McCutchen in the 4th. And a single by the pitcher Wandy Rodriguez. 6, 7, 8 in the batting order for the Pirates in the 8th. Latos coming off a 1, 2, 3, 7 through the heart of the order. Alvarez has struck out and bounced into a fielder's choice. This one will get into center field. And you wonder how long it will be. In fact, there are bodies already beginning to get loose in the Reds bullpen. They've got the left-hander Sean Marshall and recently acquired Jonathan Broxton, the right-hander.
That's a pretty good setup punch right there. Both guys who have closed in the past. You know, Dusty Baker recognizes this is a big game. You win the first game of the series. It's huge when a team is chasing you. He knows how tight his bullpen has been. There's no reason why he feels he ought to push Latos past the point where he's going to end up giving it up.
Straight up in the air. Boy, Barajas was thinking about making it a 1-run game on that cut. Got a first pitch fastball, and it's a first out of the inning.
Got a quarter of an inch difference.
So now Barmes, who's fly to right and bounced into a huge double play in this game. They're going to take him down. For a pinch hitter, we mentioned his name earlier, their backup catcher Michael McHenry is going to bat for Barmes. And Chris brought up earlier, this guy, he'll hit you a home run now. He has 7 of them in the last 20 games and has 10 overall this year.
He's got the only player in this league that has a better home runs per at bat, or how many, you know what I'm talking about, ratio, is Ryan Braun. And of course he doesn't rank because he doesn't have enough at bats, but that's how frequent he goes deep. Short arms, very powerful stroke, likes the fastball, inner plate. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Willeen Rosario, the way he steps up there, and same body type, big strong kid.
Pitcher spot is due up next, and currently standing In the on-deck circle is left-handed batting Alex Presley. In the air, short right center. And that ball falls in.
Well, end of the bat. He takes a big swing. You know, when you go over the scouting report, you say, all right, this guy's got power, this guy doesn't, and so on. And I think he froze the outfielders, especially Stubbs, with a big swing on the end of the bat. Didn't read it until it was too late.
Well, Dusty Baker's got to be contemplating right now. The tying run is coming to the plate. Now, the question is, you ask yourself here, Dusty Baker probably talking about this very topic with Brian Price. Do you allow Latos as a right-hander to face a left-handed batting Presley, or would you rather have the left-hander Marshall facing right-handed batters on their bench, Gabi Sanchez, Jordy Mercer, or Cincinnati native Josh Harrison? Where in Cincinnati, USA is Jim Day. Stay tuned to Fox Sports Ohio and follow him as he visits Cincinnati, USA's attractions and events. So it will be Brian Price, not Dusty Baker, who will make the pitching change. And the umpire saying, did you just call for a right-hander, or did you call for a left-hander? And there's a big discussion going on here right now. Because Brian Price, it looked like, waved his right hand at the umpire, and the umpire said, are you calling for a right-hander? And I'm not sure. It is a right-hander. It's going to be Jonathan Broxton.
I wonder if maybe when Latos fouled that ball off his foot, it had anything to do with it. Doesn't seem like it. They're just going to bring in a fresh arm. So fresh, he's only in a second game with the Reds.
Well, it's quite an effort tonight by Latos in the opening game of this series. In the 8th through 3 batters they had in the front 7 against Latos. And now on the pitch, right-hander Jonathan Broxton making his second appearance as a Red since coming over from Kansas City. And the batter is going to be Gabi Sanchez, who just came over to deal from the Marlins. First pitch fastball in there at 94 strike. Reds bullpen has been virtually #1 in every major statistical category there is. If not in all of baseball, then certainly in the National League.
Well, you get 2 fastballs in there for quick strikes against a pinch hitter, and all of a sudden you've got a whole bunch of options looking you right in the face if you're Jonathan Broxton.
Of course, Gabi Sanchez was among the best rookie players in all of baseball last year with the Marlins. He had an excellent season. But this year did not play well, was sent down to the minor leagues for an extended period of time. Was recently brought back up before the Marlins traded him to the Pirates. Broxton coming back with gas at 96 on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, what Sanchez does, and he has done very well, that was back in 2010, you're referring, Tom, when he had 19 home runs and 85 runs batted in, but he walks a lot. He's got real good plate management. Not necessarily just a pure slugger, but a guy that normally puts the ball in play.
Alvarez, a runner at second base. McHenry with a pinch hit bloop single in the center, over at first. And the 0-2 from Jonathan Broxton. Here it is. Another fastball at 96, and again Sanchez able to foul it away. I mean, Broxton went from a setup role in Kansas City, became the closer, where of course he started for a number of seasons in that role with the Dodgers. But playing for a team that was well under 500 in the American League Central cellar. And here he is in his second appearance with the Reds, pitching in a big game in the opening weekend of August. Bouncing ball should be. There's one. That's a double play. Jonathan Broxton slams the door in the 8th. Reds come to bat in the bottom of the inning. Still pitching a shutout. Big one in the 8th. Third double play the Pirates have bounced into tonight. High fives all around for the big man down there, Jonathan Broxton. Couple of changes looking around for the Pirates on defense. Barmes was hit for, so Jordy Mercer will take over for him. Barajas is out. McHenry stays in. And taking over for Wandy Rodriguez, another acquisition at the trade deadline made by the Pirates, bringing in the veteran right-hander.
Well,
they
sent Brad Lincoln, a very dependable right-hander, up to Toronto in exchange for Travis Snyder, so they needed to replace him somehow, and they picked up the veteran Chad Qualls. Solid reliever, been around a while. 4 years with Houston, 3 years with Arizona, some time with Tampa Bay, San Diego. Last year he was with Philly only for a few games. And he was also with the Yankees. That's where he came from when the Pirates got him.
An excellent start tonight by Wandy Rodriguez, and you know we've seen in the past. You can understand why the Pirates would want to bring this guy in. Pretty much, Chris, what you said before the game ever started. Give you 6-7 innings. Allowed 3 runs. Tonight was 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. Didn't walk anybody. I mean, you know, you really look at the way the Reds have scored. So unlikely an inside the park home run. You rarely ever see those.
Which with
even more rare a home run by the pitcher.
And really, with better defense, it wouldn't have been an inside the park home run. I mean, more alert defense. You give up a home run to the opposing pitcher, that happens. Look at it again. Our Nissan drive of the game. Chris Heisey high off the wall. Starling Marte cannot get it. And meanwhile, the center fielder, Andrew McCutcheon, is just kind of being a spectator. And Heisey chugging right on home.
Nearly 41,000 on hand here tonight. Sellout crowd, and again we're sold out here tomorrow night, but tickets are available Sunday, so come on down. Reds will be embarking on a road trip through Milwaukee and Chicago, spanning a week before they're back home again in the middle of the month. Cozart a 3-hit night. He'll be retired for the first time. That's the way we begin the bottom of the 8th. Drew Stubbs, 1 out of 3, singled his last time up. Qualls lets it fly, and they get the speedy Stubbs. Crowd thought that throw brought Garrett Jones off the bag. But right there on the call was Brian Gorman.
Boy, some fancy footwork down there by the first baseman Jones. This ball, one of those swinging bunts, which normally would be an easier out, but you've got Drew Stubbs just booking it down the line. Dusty didn't go onto the field, but he went all the way down to the first base side of that dugout to let Brian Gorman have it. Part of that probably just to keep his team on the edge, knowing that every little play means something in a game like this, and keep the intensity going for one more inning. Take another look at that throw to first base, and then Jones down there. He reads it coming the other way, and he's got a cross right in front of Drew Stubbs. Brian Gorman got it right. Normally does.
Look to Ludwig. Swing and a miss, and the inning is over. All right, here we go. 9th inning. Reds are 3 outs away from a series opening win, and Aroldis Chapman coming on from the bullpen. The main man electrifies a crowd every time that bullpen gate opens, and it's a save situation knowing that Aroldis Chapman is coming into the game. A couple of changes on defense for the Reds. Jay Bruce comes on to play right field, and moving from right to left field is Heisey taking over for Ryan Ludwig. Mat Latos 7 1/3, 4 hits, no runs. Jonathan Broxton came on in the 8th inning with 2 on and 1 out. Induced a double play ball to end that inning. And now Aroldis Chapman tries to finish off a 3-0 lead into a 3-0 win. His last blown save was in the final week of June.
Well, he had a string of blown saves there, and it was the Pirates that got him on that bad scheme of blown saves. They got to him in one ball game, and he went down for a few games. That was about the time when Chapman was really throwing nothing but fastballs. But he's got the top of the order. Not an easy thing to do here in the 9th, but a 3-run lead.
Fastball high. We've talked about it with Chapman. I mean, the numbers are just astounding, especially inside the National League. 42 games, 46 1/3 innings, has allowed 1 earned run against National League opponents. 1. National League opposition batting 103 against him. And overall, in the 17 appearances since that last blown save against Minnesota on June the 24th, he's 15 out of 15 in save chances without allowing a single run. 35 strikeouts in 16+ innings. 2-1 on Marte. Will be followed by Snyder and McCutchen. Two-1 to the Pirate rookie. 2-2. Chapman today named Major League Baseball's Delivery Man of the Month for July. It recognizes the most outstanding relief pitcher during each month of the regular season. So he won it for all of Major League Baseball. Wow. 100 at the knees. And Bob Davidson says ball 3. So you can tell this Marte not afraid of a fastball now.
Well, you know, you make it to the major leagues by being able to hit the fastball. You stay in the major leagues by being able to figure out the breaking ball. And they'll tell you that he's got a quick bat. There's no question about it.
3-2 on Marte. And again, he's chasing that gas and making contact. I mean, he's right on it. Those are the numbers during his Delivery Man of the Month award. Not a single run allowed in the entire month of July, nor a blown save. Marte checked his swing there. The bat made contact. We'll do it once more. Marte hitless in 3 at-bats. Bounce into a double play back in the 6th inning, his last time up. 9th pitch of the at-bat. Broken bat, roller to Roland. Charges, throws, got him.
Well, the advantage of throwing as hard as Aroldis Chapman is that you have to start your swing so soon that you end up chasing pitches that are marginal or out of the strike zone. And in that at bat, Marte probably chased at least 2, maybe 3 pitches that would have been balls had he simply let them go. Well, you've got to decide quick.
But now the left-handed batting Travis Snyder. He's walked, stolen a base, and twice bounced out to Miguel Cairo. And Ryan Hannigan wondering why Chapman now is pitching out of the stretch. Aroldis Chapman is one of the few closers that pitches out of the windup, unless of course somebody's on base. And you saw Hannigan step off to the right-handed batter's box and say, hey, do you know you're pitching out of the stretch?
Well, that was 100. So he doesn't lose anything out of the stretch anyway.
But it does make you wonder a little bit, doesn't it? I mean, we're so used to watching Chapman working out of the windup.
It does make you wonder. Yeah, maybe he just didn't feel comfortable. Maybe he felt like he was getting too long in his delivery going out of the full windup.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. It took a little off.
You're always a little more compact out of the stretch windup. But he keeps it together so well. Look at that long stride way out over his right leg.
See you later. 101.
101. I mean, not just 101, but 101 with action. And a big long stride that gets him so much closer to home plate. That 101 is effectively about a 105 right there. Because of his stride and because how close he is to home plate compared to most other pitchers.
Two outs in the ninth. And McCutchen drilled with a 101-mile-per-hour fastball. Goodness gracious.
I'm not sure where it got him.
Oh, and the left arm looked like just underneath the shoulder. Yep. Okay. Wow, that gotta hurt.
Like getting hit with a cue ball.
All right, now the batter, the left-handed, hitting Garrett Jones, and it's strike one. 40,829. For the top two teams in the National League Central. Reds began this game with a 3.5-game lead. Latos, Broxton, now Chapman trying to finish off a 4-hit shutout. A strike away. dominating effort by the trio of Latos,